The Carolina Panthers select BRYCE Young, quarterback, Alabama.
Here's how I finish up the draft after selecting Bryce Young. First overall, we went in the second round, got Josh Downs, hidden dev wide receiver from North Carolina, who very well could be wide receiver 1. And a favorite target of Bryce Young. We have Matthew Bergeron, who might kick inside to guard, just to really help solidify the offensive line. Overshown at linebacker. Eli Ricks is a developmental corner, pulling a nice 72 overall rating, and then grabbing BPA, which was Marvin Mims, the 71 overall wide receiver in the 5th round. This is my 2023 NFL draft for the Carolina Panthers, and this is our Bryce Young Carolina Panthers rebuild. If you watch my draft reaction, I love the pick of Bryce Young. I thought all along that was the right pick at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, a team, a franchise that I've grown to like a lot more, maybe more so out in any other point in my fandom of the NFL and the sport of football because of our Madden 23 franchise with the Panthers, and I think they deserve that. And look at the rest of the offense. This is our updated Panthers team. We got Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen at wideout. Josh Downs is going to be our wide receiver 3 on the offensive line. Bergeron is going to kick inside to right guard. You have a brand new tight end in Hayden Hurst. So like lots of new faces. Hopefully they can all gel and put it together sooner than later. On the defensive side of the ball, Shy Tuttle's a new defensive lineman, but 3 of your 4 are returning. They got the chemistry. Same with the linebackers, 2 of the 3, and Shaq Thompson and Louvu return. Overshown, our mid-round pick out of Texas, will get the start at middle linebacker. We got Chinnan Bell at safety, with Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, and C.J. Henderson. And, of course, the great Keith Taylor in the secondary here for the Carolina Panthers. So I'm optimistic. I've seen some pretty big sim numbers out of the Panthers team. I think this is going to be a very successful rebuild. I think Bryce Young is going to be excellent. I think he's going to be the quarterback that can bring the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl. Let's get into year 1 of this 5-year realistic rebuild. Coming out of our bye week, we are an incredibly impressive 7-1 atop of the Falcons and Buccaneers in what is looking like a very competitive NFC South. As long as the wheels don't fall off, we are absolutely shattering expectations for the I knew it was going to be good, though, man. The Panthers are a pretty solid sim team here in Madden 23. So let's take a look at some contracts here. We have $95 million of available salary cap. We need to be smart with our money and make good investments. So we got Brian Burns right at the rip. He's only looking for a 3-year. Well, we're going to bump that up. I want him here for the full rebuild. We'll give him 5 years, $99 million deal for an X-Factor pass rusher who's outstanding. We had Jeremy Chin, who's a versatile player. I'm utilizing him as well as our sub linebacker, so I think there's going to be a great opportunity for him to just continue to rise up and up dev traits. So we'll get him locked in for the remainder of this reel. We have Frankie Louvu, who's been a very solid player. We'll bump that up a little bit. 3 years, $27 million. Wants a little bit more. I do think I'll try to keep him there. He's a really nice, versatile player. I think Laviska Shenault, another guy you want to gamble on the traits with, won't be overly expensive. 3 years, $10 million for a star dev wide receiver. C.J. Henderson, again, another player that's like, all right, I don't know if he's going to hit or not, but for this price point, with that dev trait at his age, with his upside, I'm going to gamble that we might be able to hit something there. Gross Matos, if there was some interest in him re-signing, maybe I would offer out a contract extension there, but defensive end is a strength in this year's draft class. That's where I sent my scouts to focus on. So I think we might be able to get a successor there, but we will come back to the table for Frankie Louvu, and that'll still give us probably $60, $70 million of salary cap to spend this upcoming offseason. Glad we paid Frankie Louvu. Week 18 defensive player. We got 4 sacks, padding his stats to make it look that much more impressive when all is said and done. And I'm just going to ignore the fact that Tom Brady came out of retirement, go to the Patriots. We finished the season with a very, very surprising and impressive 13-4 record. Elite defense. Number 2 defense, number 3 passing, number 6 rushing. I would like to see, obviously, with Bryce Young being the focal point, maybe having a little bit better than the 21st. Best passing offense is our worst unit. But that is absolutely how you want to start this rebuild out. Bryce Young, great rookie season, 4,400 yards, 34 touchdowns to 11 picks. I think if you told any Carolina Panther fan right now, that's what you would get. They would take that in a heartbeat. 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns for Miles Sanders. On the receiving, Josh Downs. Hey, I like that. Established himself here, 61 catches. 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, just under 1,000 for Thielen. Chark had a solid year, and Miles Sanders getting a little bit of that Christian McCaffrey playbook. Almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage for him. On the defensive side, Shaq Thompson goes over 100 tackles. We got 16.5 sacks for Brian Burns, 12 from Frankie Louvu, 9.5 from Derek Brown. Very good numbers, and as you can see, we're moving on from Gross Matos for a reason. Not really enough production to justify 3 picks. Overshown. I mean, given what we saw and came to expect with our Carolina Panthers main channel, Madden 23 franchise mode, I'd like to see 10 picks apiece for everybody. But overall, the secondary was top 5, so you can't just measure everything in interceptions to whether or not it was good or not. Lamar is the MVP, and the NFC Offensive Player goes to Cooper Kupp. Josh Allen, Offensive Rookie, there goes to Bryce Young, which will bode well for it. And not only that, we beat a rookie. We built Will Levis on the, if you beat anybody, any rookie quarterback that's on the Bucks, you did something right. Josh Downs coming in number 3 there for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Tyree Wilson. Let's see, do we have any other individual award winners? It might be kind of tough. I was thinking maybe we might have had a pass rusher, but we did not. But Bryce Young getting that award should bode well for a dev trade increase. On top of that, we also have the first round bye because we went 13-4. We're 8 wins higher than I probably think most Panther fans would expect next season. What is the dev trade here on Bryce Young? Bryce Young, Josh Downs were our 2 hidden dev draft picks. I'm going to guess Superstar and Star, which it is. Superstar and Star. There is a chance, though, with that Offensive Rookie of the Year award, Bryce Young is an X factor, and this rebuild just hit the absolute nos. But it starts, and it'll be very nice to get at least one playoff victory, get our feet wet. We are the 1 seed. You don't want to be one and done. We have the Commanders, 82 overall. I think it's a matchup we should be favored in. Psych. We are 1 and done. The inexperienced Panthers, the wheels fell off. And I guess I'd rather lose to the Commanders than lose to Dallas. And that is just Jacoby Brissett. And then they had a trick play for a touchdown. Huh. All right, we dust ourselves off. Get better this offseason. Oh, no, they did it. Go ahead and spend the point here for Bryce Young. Seeing if he went from superstar to an X factor. They robbed us. They didn't give it to us. Okay. In closing, though, we did get a couple dev trades on the defensive side of the ball, seeing both Derek Brown and Frankie Louvu go from star up to superstar devs. Now, for free agency, I was thinking about maybe improving the defense just a little bit. There's some interesting names. I don't want to sign the guys that are already in real life signed in contract extensions. So I just feel like our defense, there's a couple, average signings we can make on the defensive side of the ball, but what we had there, we have Shy Tuttle. We don't have great, we let Gross Matos. We don't have a first or second round pick. But I was like, man, that defense, generally speaking, was still top 5. Like, it just worked. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll do something a little spicy and get a DN. I feel like I want to get a bidding war to try to bring him back, though. That's kind of my issue there, but he also might just be the best option. Best option available could be returning Gross Matos. Just because, again, we don't have that first round pick. We don't have that second round pick. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, I did make a big splash. I wanted to get more weapons for our great quarterback. We went out and we got Jerry Jeudy, 85-star dev wide receiver. So going into this draft, I would argue my 2 needs would be a center and a linebacker. Because I feel like if we get a linebacker, maybe we could put Frankie Louvu to defensive end. Maybe I think we've done that before, I feel like, in a Panther rebuild. And there was 2 centers that looked very nice that were day 2, day 3 picks. Tommy White was the first. He went out the board, so I knew this was kind of my jumping off point if I wanted to lay in this center. And look at this value. You cannot ask for a better year to not have a first-round pick and look for a center. Cordell Samuel of South Carolina, 3 A's and a B, scheme fit right away. Looks like an incredibly easy pick for us, and we can get an upgrade and get. I would have loved a dev trait. I think that base rating, though, is going to be very high. Did our homework on the linebackers. Here in the 4th round, I got Stephen Sherwood out of Clemson, 2nd, 3rd round talent. It available still to us here. Great look at it. Elite speed, elite jumping, elite agility, great acceleration. This is the kind of guy we draft. He's got to play outside linebacker, and then we move Louvu to defensive end, and we're stronger overall as a defense. My BPA here, we missed on the hidden dev on the center, but we got Greg Guy. Don't really need a corner, but he was just best player available. Had a ridiculous vert as shown by that 95 jumping. Nice. To look at our draft recap without having a first or second round pick, the fact that we still were able to land a 71 center here with upside who might start for us here in year 1. Sherwood, let's see what his rating jumps up to. We're going to move him to the left outside linebacker spot because we are going to kick Frankie Louvu down into defensive end. He goes from a 71 to a 72. We'll take that. Guy, 68 hidden dev corner, and we finish up just with another solid linebacker there, 66 for depth, but I'll take that every day of the week, and then back to next season where we will have premier draft capital in the first round and second rounds. Because we have some shuffling around, here's how our team looks to line up in year 2. Changes to the offense. Jerry Jeudy is going to be our wide receiver 1 with Josh Downs at wide receiver 2. Hayden Hurst is regressing, so we'll go with the upside of Tommy Tremble as our starter there at tight end. Samuel, who we drafted with our top pick, I just think there's a lot more upside. Might as well just let him have the reins as starting center over a Bradley Bozeman for this season. On the defensive side, we kicked Frankie Louvu down to the defensive end, which allows us for Sherwood to start at linebacker. Him and Thompson will be our 2 linebackers in nickel. Rest of the defense remains exactly the same. Please give me some consistency. I'm not expecting another 13-win season. We very much overachieved, but don't have me go, below 8. We should be contending for the playoffs, if not outright making the playoffs here in year 2. At the midway point of year 2, still very impressive. 8-2. Man, this defense is crushing it. Number 1 defense as it stands, and the offense 10th in passing, 5th in rushing. Very, very happy with where we're at right now. The Bryce Young era has got the perfect role to start. We got Derek Brown up first. He is not going anywhere. We are going to make sure we land and secure him long term. We'll go 8.5, 9.5, 72 mil over 4 years. Getting that locked up. Keep each of this defensive front. We got Shaq Thompson. Maybe because I think he's a little bit of a fan favorite. We'll get him 2 years, even though that regression is probably not going to age particularly well. We have Austin Corbett at guard. And if we can, what I say, even if it's not like the most sexiest of linemen, we run them into the ground. If we can get him 3 years, $31 million. Wow, he needs more money. I don't know about that. There might be the jump off point might be here right now. Tommy Tremble is our starter. I think that's a pretty cheap contract and still gives us wiggle room. If, say, like Kyle Pitts or like one of those big name tight ends comes available, we can still pull the trigger there. We got Dante Jackson. Only look for a 1-year. We'll offer him a 2-year deal, part of a secondary that's been simply outstanding so far in this rebuild. So we'll offer him a 2-year, $23 million deal. Get him locked in. The only guy disappointed in is Austin Corbett. We'll probably still come back to the table and try to keep him here as our starting right guard. Back to back, what? 14-3 with a top 10 offense. And again, this is just the defense I cannot get over with. Back to back. Our defense is solid. I don't think our defense is anything S tier. It has been S tier. We have been getting performances out of this Panthers sim defense that it takes me to have like a 92 plus overall defense in other rebuilds to achieve that type of consistency. Like, we have to be like, I haven't seen numbers like that outside of years that we just like sign every top defensive player in free agency, like when we get to that desperation point. Look at Bryce Young, first in the league in yards, 35 touchdowns as well. I mean, he's been incredible. Great year out of Miles Sanders, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns to go along with 700. I mean, just he's McCaffrey. He's operating in that role. Jerry Jeudy didn't go over 1,000, which is disappointing, but I mean, almost 1,000 and 13 touchdowns, very acceptable. 1,010 for Josh Downs. On the defensive side, this elite unit, Thompson and Stephon Sherwood, both over 100 tackles. And Sherwood superstar, let's go! No first round pick. And we still, I can say, did he get it at any point? We drafted a superstar straight up. Was easily best player available, and I scouted him. Shout out to me for finding the fast linebacker to do extra homework on. That's all I really did, but still, that is a hit. 13.5 sacks, Brian Burns. 13.5 sacks, 10 TFLs for Frankie Louvu. Wasn't really sure how well he would transition to a pure out defensive end versus a rush linebacker, and the answer is really, really good. And Derek Brown giving us 18 TFLs, 8.5 sacks. Happy we re-signed him. He's been amazing. Interception numbers, like maybe not the best, but again, we still have one of the best passing defenses in the NFL. MVP goes to Justin Ebert. I mean, I thought we would at least had a chance getting on the short list with Bryce Young. For the individual awards, it's a lot of Rams. Stephon Sherwood gets Defensive Rookie of the Year. There's a chance. I mean, we didn't get it with Bryce Young, but there is usually a dev trait that pops with this. That could be an X factor. That would be simply incredible. Miles Sanders also not getting running back of the year is pretty frustrating. But I think given his season, I'm optimistic that we will see a dev trait increase. Lineman of the year runner-up was Corbett, who I did extend. We gave him about $1 million more to get that contract over the line. I mean, again, just our team's so good. We're getting disrespected for the awards, and I don't really care too much. But awards usually lead to dev traits, and I always, especially at this point in the rebuild, you could always have more dev traits. So last year we were a very good S-tier team and stumbled out the gate, didn't win a playoff game. This year we got the 49ers, who are a very good team, and we're able to get past Bryce Young, and the Panthers get their first playoff win in this era. And honestly, we're a win away from the Super Bowl against the Detroit Lions. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick for Bryce Young. Outduels Mr. Brock Purdy. And it sets up a matchup. I assume they have Jared Goff. They got Josh Jacobs. Detroit, number 3 offense in the NFL. Number 9 defense. They don't really match up that well against us. So I think this should be a game that we're the favorites in. And we lose by a touchdown in a shootout. And I'm not going to highlight the number 1 defense giving up 38 points. Please don't say we gave 30 up points to Jared Goff. They get Anthony Richardson under center. He's kind of been a cheat code here. Josh Jacobs had a good game. I still think that's very frustrating to have the defense that we have to have that type of performance. You know, if it was a low-scoring game that we lost, fine, easier pill to swallow. Giving up almost 40 points in the biggest game of the season, kind of bullshit, if I'm being honest with you. At season's end, we got Sherwood, superstar, looking for a good run. Oh, we didn't get it again. God damn it, man. Back-to-back years, our superstar rookie, which maybe we should just be hashtag blessed that we got that in the first place. But back-to-back years, we did not get the dev trait to trigger. It's annoying. And at season's end, for the dev traits, we did get the X Factor on Miles Sanders, who back-to-back seasons of 2,000 yards from scrimmage had a little bit more touchdown production this year, is very much deserved. And on the defensive side of the ball, Derek Brown is up to an X Factor, which you love to see. And at least no one else went down a dev trait. That's a win. Move of retirement to announce, though, is Adam Thielen has decided to hang him up after 12 seasons, creating a little bit of a void at wide receiver 3. Maybe you want to add someone to pair with Jerry Jeudy and Josh Downs. We'll see what the market says. For agency, there wasn't really much. I was looking. I think D tackle would have been like the one spot I would have loved. I mean, maybe you could look at something like Aaron Donald. There's just so many bids. So I went with maybe a more respectable approach. One, get that wide receiver. Why not, man? He was so good for us in our, like, maybe paying homage to the main channel Madden franchise. Kadarius Toney was, when all was said and done for that whole series, I think, like, our best skill position player. That wasn't Christian McCaffrey. And then you got Zaven Collins here, middle linebacker. Overshown has not really got any, he's had like 2 depth trait scenarios that he's failed to hit. So if we can land a superstar middle linebacker, I will take that for the middle of our defense. Optimism is that, hey, we got him locked in. Now, Kadarius Toney, there's some other competitive offers. I'm not going to get into a massive bidding war, but we'll go up to this point because, I mean, wide receiver 3, it's wide receiver 3. You know, he's going to be, if he wants to come here and he wants to relive what we achieved earlier in the year, fine. If not, we'll take Zaven Collins. We'll keep rolling over this massive salary cap space. And eventually there's going to be a free agency period. We're going to go all in. And we're shaping up nicely so that if it does turn into a year 5 Super Bowl or bust and we need to go all in, we're going to have more than enough money to do so. We did our homework on the draft at D tackle. There's 3 defensive tackles that look like they could all be outstanding picks for us. We got 90% scouted. Calvin Roberts from Florida. He looks pretty solid, but I think the guy that we're going to be aggressive. If I see, as soon as I see Antoine McDonald go, I think Darion Hayward out of Oklahoma is the pick that I want to come play alongside Derek Brown. Double B, double A, top 5 in pretty much every category that you want to look for, at least borderline top 5. I think that's our guy. I stand by every single pick, just seeing when like the run on D. All of them are still there. No defensive tackle went until this point. All of those D tackles are still going to be at our disposal, so we're going to be able to pick from the litter. And I think, again, I just think looking at the breakdown here, Hayward looks to be the best. Has about the athletic upside as well, which should bode well for a dev trait. If there is no dev trait though, be kind of lame. Oh, that's pretty lame. Oh, god damn it. We got BPA here, Mark Hoffman. I don't really want to go back to the well for linebacker, but for what limited information we have in the second round with the players that are available, A pursuit, A zone coverage at 6'2", 220 with elite speed, acceleration, and agility. Jack Thompson's not getting any younger. And of course, can't buy a dev trait here. Take a look at our draft recap. Very disappointed that the first 2 picks did not yield dev traits, but the ratings are very good as Hayward is a 77 normal and Hoffman is a 74 normal. We got a wide receiver, Ken Meredith, in the 3rd round as well. Guess why I drafted him? He's fast. But I could not buy. I mean, it is what it is, man. It makes you appreciate when we have those like S-tier ridiculous drafts, which we tend to have more often than not. Sometimes you're just not going to get the roll. And I mean, hey, did we botch any of these picks? We're looking for a D tackle. We got the best defensive tackle in this year's draft class. I do want to just see out of curiosity's sake what the other defensive tackles were coming in at. Like, kind of more so dev traits are they dealing with. So we have Calvin Roberts, who was the least likely guy that I was going to draft. He is hidden dev. Just be star. Just be star so I can sleep at night. And it's star. And then we have, there was another defensive tackle. Just undervaluing the D tackles here. Quincy Mills out of Florida. And he's hidden dev. Please. How come I get the one guy that did have one, man? Guess he's like 4 or 5 overall points higher, but still would have been nice to get a guy with a dev. Coming up a loss, rolling into the bye week, still sitting atop the NFC South with a 6-2 record. Our pass defense well off the mark for some reason, but we have the number 1 offense, number 8 defense in the league. It is time to look at some contracts. Again, we've been rolling over our salary cap. We've been very smart with how we're investing our money, so that when it comes time to be like, ah, man, we got to pay some guys, it's not that big of a deal. We got Turnstile Moten. Yeah, he's been solid. Can't complain. Can't use past grievances to what he's been doing in this rebuild. He's been keeping Bryce Young upright. We will resign him. J.C. Horn, who's probably my favorite non-Keith Taylor player from that Panthers franchise just because he was copy and paste 10 interceptions a year. We're going to keep him in the building. So we keep our top targets and we roll over with, we got 81 plus the salary cap increase. We might have $100 million hit the open market next year. It might not have been our cleanest year, but we go 11-6 and win our 3rd straight NFC South title. Our offense is weird because we're a top 5 offense in terms of points scored, but our yards and offense for passing and rushing are not the best. Number 2 defense. Defense has been absolutely incredible here in this rebuild. 3 straight years, arguably the best defense in the NFL. Bryce Young, not a lot of passing yards, but I'll take 42 touchdowns every day of the week. Big year to Miles Sanders, our X-Factor running back. We had Jones and Jerry Jeudy both going over 1,000 yards. Miles Sanders is Christian McCaffrey reincarnated. Defensively, this elite unit. Zaven Collins, 13 TFLs, 100 tackles in his first year as a Panther. 17.5 sacks Brian Burns, 17.5 sacks Frankie Louvo, 11 sacks Derek Brown, and 7 from our rookie Darian Hayward, who I hope to God wins Defensive Rookie of the Year and ends up getting that star dev, which will, justify that pick. J.C. Horn, 7 picks. Let's go. 5 for C.J. Henderson, 4 for Dante Jackson, 3 for Chandon Bell. Interceptions, they just saved it all for this season. I love those numbers. Give me some award winners. MVP goes to Josh Allen. Bryce Young coming in at number 6. That's his best finish. Miles Sanders is Offensive Player of the Year. Love it. No. Hayward, 3rd place for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That stings. Bryce Young is Quarterback of the Year. So, I'm optimistic he will get X Factor this year. Miles Sanders, Running Back of the Year. J.C. Horn, DB of the Year. Just paid him as well. There's a dev trade increase just waiting to happen. And this is our 3rd year in a row. I don't know if this has ever happened at any point during our rebuilds this year, where we had 3 straight first-round buys, let alone 3 straight to start the series, to start the episode, and we open up the playoffs against the Rams. Don't underperform. We should kick the shit out of them. We are 7 overall points better, and we handle business 27-19. Moving to the championship game, Super Bowl on the line. We've been here before, even though we're a young squad and we're overachieving, and we have punched our ticket to the Super Bowl with a 17-7 victory over the Green Bay Packers. Except now the thing waiting for us on the other side, and our 91 Panthers team is the cheat code of the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs. Before the Super Bowl, though, our 2 big award winners. First up is J.C. Horn, who just absolutely went off. Got his interceptions that we expect him to get. He goes from star up to a superstar dev, and then we have our Quarterback of the Year, Bryce. We didn't get X Factor again. The 2nd time he's got fucked over for a superstar dev. He got Offensive Rookie of the Year, didn't get it. He got Quarterback of the Year, didn't get it. Okay. Keep motivating. You know what? Maybe it's because he's not a team captain. The league doesn't view him as a leader. That's ridiculous, though. 2 swings, 2 misses. Year 3 of 5 in the Super Bowl. We've been ahead of schedule this entire rebuild. I didn't think we were going to be contending till maybe year 4. So if we can hit this in year 3 and potentially turn this Panthers team into a dynasty with Bryce Young, that'd be incredible. And what better way to try to kickstart that dynasty than beating the toughest team that you will see in the Super Bowl if you are an NFC team in a rebuild? That is the Kansas City Chiefs. They do get the touchdown right before halftime. They get back-to-back scores, 3 straight. That's what makes them so incredibly overpowered. Then we settle for a field goal. I think we all know what's going to happen here. I think we all know it. Yep, of course. Maybe I can help him out with a play. And this, if this was anyone else in the other than the Chiefs, I'd probably just let this one roll. But because of the Chiefs, I mean, if we can get a touchdown here, that'd be incredible. But if not, let's just see if we can give our sim offense one more realistic shot. It is 4th and 10. We're going to float this into Josh Downs, who's got to do at least field goal range. We'll burn the timeout. At minimum, we should be able to force this to overtime. If not, outright win. We get the touchdown, 19 seconds to go. And it's Super Bowl champions, the Carolina Panthers, get it done. 31-27 over the Kansas City Chiefs. A team that has, honestly, even though it's Bryce Young, and we're focusing on the offensive side, and he's been good, like just incredible defense. 3 straight years we've arguably had the best defense in the NFL. It's been a little bit of a no-name defense. It's not like we've splurged in free agency. It's not like we've drafted X-Factors in the draft. It's kind of just developing the guys that are already in place with the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young out duels. Patrick Mahomes for the first of hopefully at least one more, if not building a dynasty and winning 3 total Super Bowls. 2 more to finish out this rebuild. But there you go, Panther fans, the sight that you hope becomes a reality after selecting him first overall in the 2023 NFL Draft. Bryce Young has led the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl victory in year 3 of a 5-year rebuild. We'll give it to him. We'll go the next 2 seasons. Look at that absolute duel between him and Mahomes as well. Being aggressive in defending our Super Bowl title, going after the 2 positions of need, wide receiver and a safety, because we let Von Bell walk. Competitive offer then from the Cowboys, but we did get our wide receiver, so now we're going to be able to have George Pickens and Jerry Jeudy on the outside with Josh Downs in the slot. And we go towards the draft, just going all in for the best safety in the class that we can find. Shit. 31 went our top safety that we were looking for, but there are some intriguing. We got Greg Cunningham, who looks solid. We got A-man coverage, B-zone, so he's a nice cover guy and pretty, I mean, at 223. This might have to be the pick we make, Greg Cunningham. On the other side, though, free safety, we have Nick Royal, who also looks very intriguing. Double B's with a C, and you get a little bit more agility, a little bit more And I mean, the fact that, you know, he's a little bit more of a compliment to Jeremy Chan. That's where we're going to go. Free safety, Nick Royal. Final pick, hidden dev safety, day 1 starter for us going into year 4. And take a look at our draft recap. 76 hidden dev for Nick Royal. You're absolutely loving that. I'm not going to lie, though. I kind of just set my board and simmed out after that. Didn't get a whole lot. Maybe there's some dev traits in there. In terms of nice ratings, Rashad Graves out of Florida, 72. But we just needed a safety, and we got our safety. As we look to defend our Super Bowl title, here's our squad. The addition of X-Factor George Pickens, X-Factor Miles Sanders, Bryce Young, who's got robbed of an X-Factor twice in this rebuild. I'm sure that's going to motivate him, but the offense is only better than the team that won the Super Bowl last year. Surprise X-Factor, I didn't even really get to mention Sherwood. Maybe the best value pick we've had in a minute in a rebuild is now up to an X-Factor. I mean, he was straight up drafted just because he was a great athlete and allowed us to kick Frankie Louva down to edge rusher. And Louva's been outstanding as an edge rusher. He had double-digit sacks last 2 years in a row. So, like, we absolutely got that one right. Royals dev trait already got unveiled through our skill tree as just a star. So, you know, sometimes I do like to get, and I do tend to get lucky with my safety hitting devs and get superstars. But that's still a very nice fit for us as the last pick in the draft. We're ready to run it back. Midway point in year 4. 5-1, just outstanding. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I almost just think, should I just have simmed my entire Carolina Panthers franchise? We do have a nice breakout scenario here potentially for JC Horn to go up X-Factor. You know, we'll sim this one against the Falcons, see where it puts us, and then talk about free agency. 5-1 at 2-5 Falcons. Handle business. Don't choke. Handle business, man. Might not have been a flashy win, but 28-20 will get the job done as we're running for the gauntlet. Did not hit the dev for JC Horn, but look at that. That is the NFC South gauntlet. Falcons, Bucks, Falcons, Bucks. They can decide this division here in the next 3 weeks. Look at that free agents, 104. It's just, we have an insane amount of money. We can keep whoever, whenever, whatever we want. Miles Sanders has been amazing filling that McCaffrey role. We have Ike Ekwonu at left tackle, had his 5th-year option last year. Time to pay the piper. We'll give him 6 years. He's a franchise tackle. Josh Downs at wide receiver has been our most consistent wide receiver. Copy paste, 1,000 yards every year. We'll come back to the table, make sure we sign him. Frankie Louva has also been incredible for us, moving into defensive end. Something to keep in mind of. I know there's going to be a lot of Panther fans that are eager to go in and rebuild their team now with a brand new quarterback. Think about that, moving Louva to defensive end. you're seeing right here just how good he can be. We got Shaq Thompson. We'll do the loyalty thing and try to keep him in the building. I just got the vibes that he'd likely be like the best linebacker available at that spot. Bergeron, we run the lineman into the ground. Plus, he's Canadian. We got a little Canadian bias there. We'll come back to the table for both him and Josh Downs, who are identical twins. Get them both over the line and still have probably enough money to make at least one big signing in free agency this offseason. And year 4 might not have been as flashy as other years, but 10-7 is still good enough to get us our 4th straight NFC South title. It is what it is, man. Utter dominance. Bryce Young, average, a little bit of an average year. It's definitely his worst year for us. Miles Sanders was great. Jerry Jeudy was solid. Josh Downs didn't go over 1,000, but 14 touchdowns. Happy with that. Pickens underwhelmed for an X factor at wide receiver. Defensively, 200-yard tacklers. Sacks, 13 for Brian Burns, 11.5 for Frankie Louvu. Everything's just kind of in line. 4 picks Jackson, 4 picks J.C. Horn. Maybe a little bit of like a purgatory type year. We're not overly optimistic or over the moon with some of our performances this year, a step back from a year ago. But we're defending Super Bowl champions for a reason, and we're optimistic we're going to be able to put it all together. And looking for the individual awards, just didn't really have the standouts that we did a year ago. And it's not the funnest. We already played Bucs twice. They're a cheat code 3 times. I think we beat them twice in the regular season. We're running the gauntlet here. If you can beat Tampa and Dallas in the playoff run, you should. Holy shit, the Giants are 16-1. Standing between us and a 2nd straight Super Bowl. Oh, we took them to the limit. 16-1 Giants are having an incredible year. The 1 seed, and they damn. All right, we got one more year. One more year to win that 2nd Super Bowl. We just ran into an absolute juggernaut, but I'm proud of our team. Anytime you can handle the Bucs and the Cowboys in the sim, I feel pretty good about where we're at. In closing to year 4 for dev traits, we lost the X factor on George Pickens. He was like the only, did he make us suck? No, he has some off the field. Was he a locker room cancer that just affected and ravaged our team? On the defense side, J.C. Horn, X factor. Dante Jackson up to a superstar. We did lose the dev trait on Shaq Thompson. So that kind of gives us an idea, maybe bringing in another linebacker. We're going to have enough money to make that one big move. Or maybe we just say screw it and try to just bring it in. I don't know. I have no idea where we're going to go. We're going to swing for the fences. Roquan Smith, I guess we kind of could use a linebacker, but more so paying homage to our Panthers franchise this season, who is, we got Roquan Smith. I was going to look at Brian BRYCE, just see if we get a little more added juice on the interior of our pass rush. We land both of them. Those are 2 massive, massive improvements for us to go on and win a Super Bowl here in year 5. At this point in the rebuild, we're just trying to dunk, try to get the best player we possibly can. Highest rated player, and I'm thinking this defensive end here. Dimitri Evans, scheme fit, A double B. Don't really worry about the finesse. 6'5", 287, elite strength. Yep, pretty good. Hail to the draft freak. Oh, we got the best rating, though. 72 hidden dev. We got Henry Burgess. Nice little running back to complement Miles Sanders. 73 with a normal dev. But not much. Not much coming from this draft class. Our final draft class. Here it is. Here's our final Panthers squad. Almost should make Bryce Young an X factor at this point, but he's been outstanding. Up to a 95 superstar, has been everything he had to be to live up to being the first overall selection in the 2023 draft. Has already brought us to a Super Bowl, is looking to repeat that. In terms of development, Miles Sanders has worked out well. Josh Downs has developed nicely. He's up to a 91. We pretty much just kept the offensive line in place. The defense has been the story of this rebuild, where Louvu, Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Sherwood, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson, and C.J. Henderson. It's just worked. This has been an elite defensive unit this entire rebuild. And let's see that they need to put their best football forward here in year 5 for us to go on and finish this thing out with another Super Bowl. And we make it a sweep. 5 years, 5 divisional titles. We have absolutely ran the NFC South. 12-5 is how we finish it. Load out the stats. Who did what? Bryce Young bounced back from last year. Almost 5,000 yards, 38 tutties. Miles Sanders, that's just what he does. George Pickens, living up to the money we paid to bring him in via free agency last year. 1,000 yards for Downs, 1,000 yards for Jeudy. Probably our best season in turn. I think this is the first time we've had 3,000-yard receivers. Roquan Smith, tackle machine, as expected. 22 sacks. Brian Burns, 11.5 for Derek Brown, 10.5 for Brian BRYCE, 8 from Frankie Louvu. Interceptions dropped back down just a little bit, but overall, not going to be upset about any of these numbers. Lamar Jackson is in Seattle somehow, wins the MVP. Looking at NFC just quickly for some Panthers. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Brian Burns, who was, half sack short of breaking the record. And he's also D Lineman of the Year, but he's an X Factor, so it's not like we're going to be anticipating, expecting, waiting on a dev trade increase. That's just what he does. First round of the playoffs, 9-8 Green Bay Packers. Don't be a wet fart of a finale and lose in the first round of the playoffs. We handle business 35-21. And in the divisional round, we are going up against the former last year Super Bowl champion. They went 16-1 in the regular season. It is our time to get a revenge. We are 4 overall points better. It is our destiny to handle them, which we do. And it sets up a NFC Championship game against the 14-3 Lamar Jackson-led Seattle Seahawks. We'll hop in on the sticks, see this one through, and hopefully make a Super Bowl. They got a lot of talent on the other side, going to one of the more hostile home environments in the league. 12th man there in Seattle. We start out, quiet them a little bit. First touchdown opening drives, hold them to a field goal. They're going to start doubting themselves here. 2 straight touchdowns for the Panthers. Seattle does get a tutty before halftime. Love to get a little... Oh, come on, man. Just spot them fucking 7. All right, we get the go-ahead score up 4. I will say I will cash in coming in on the sticks at some point. We get a 3rd down, like right here. Not going to say we're going to go for the touchdown right away, but I want to at least keep this drive going. We'll go for the shot. We got verticals. You're suggesting that. We will go for it. I'm like, look at that exact play, man. We got the squiggly lines. That's fine. We'll find someone. We'll find the open man. We go Miles Sanders. Oh, no. Just not a good read there at all. I'm going for it. This will be it, though. I'm not going to touch this game for the remainder. This will be it because I think we can get this at 4th and 5. I think I like George Pickens' matchup to get open here. Which he does. We have right pressure in the face. George Pickens runs over the DB, but able to tackle him there. I don't know. This might be one of those issues that if we do score, maybe it's scoring too early. And fuck, we just settle for the field goal anyways. But at least it wasn't the 55-yarder that we had to hit the drive before. We start chewing up some clock here. Wow, shout out to Seattle. Holding us to field goals, but they could not get in range. We did enough. The Panthers are going back to the Super Bowl. Who else? Who else would we meet? Kansas City rematch. I do always like to look at the career stats, and this is Bryce Young through 5 years, 22,000 yards passing, 182 touchdowns to 64 interceptions. With that one Super Bowl, he's on his way, man. He's on his way to becoming a Hall of Fame type quarterback. Miles Sanders has done outstanding for us. Obviously, even bigger numbers than what he was doing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Lead back for us, almost 11,000 yards, 93 touchdowns. Josh Downs really the only guy we can kind of take credit for a lot of that production. 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in 5 years. So he's been 10 touchdowns, 1,000-yard guy. Not bad for a second-round pick. On the defensive side of the football, Shaq Thompson, almost 1,300 tackles for him. 769 for Jeremy Chin. We got 111 sacks on 93 TFLs for Brian Burns. Louvu has carved out a very good career for himself. 72 TFLs, 75.5 sacks, 49.5 sacks for Derek Brown. We got 24 picks, Dante Jackson. 19 for J.C. Horn. 13 for C.J. Henderson. Really, really good numbers across the board for these fellas. Let's cap this one off with another Super Bowl win over the Chiefs. Let's do it. All right, a lot of nothing going on. And if it becomes a defensive battle, I like our defense a lot more than I like their defense. We strike first. Kansas City is able to get a touchdown on the board before the end of the first quarter. Field goal for the Panthers in the second. Again, looking like a defensive matchup, which is playing very much into the favor of us here in Carolina. But Chiefs defense doing a good job holding us to back-to-back field goals on our drives. Not giving up tutties. There we go. But there's the touchdown we needed. 21-7. Oh, 20. Missed the field goal. But up 20 in the fourth quarter. It looks like we are just the kryptonite to the super cheesy Kansas City Chiefs. They cannot handle Bryce Young and the Panthers. 2 Super Bowls in this rebuild for Bryce Young and the Panthers. Both over the hardest possible team you could meet in the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go. So as they celebrate here and hoist the Lombardi, we're going to wrap this one up, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. What rebuild do you want to see from the 2023 NFL Draft? Do we do Stroud on the Texans? I feel like I've already done that. I don't want to overdo, especially if that's something we've already predicted, but I definitely think someone like Anthony Richardson on the Colts could be super interesting. I know that wherever Will Levis goes here tonight in day 2 of the draft is probably going to be a pretty fun rebuild, but let me know in the comment section below what rebuilds you want to see based off of the first round. What are you most excited to see? And I will get to it in the coming week, but I do think I might just assume right now we'll do a Colts Richardson rebuild. This one was successful. The pace has been set. We need to try to at least achieve this with Anthony Richardson, knowing that what we were able to achieve with Bryce Young, and I'm sure Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor is going to do some pretty special things in the sim. But thank you guys for tuning into today's video. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed, comment what rebuild you want to see next, and I'll see you guys back in the next one. Till next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya, have a good one.